On weigh-in this morning, Crique somehow lifts to produce a magnificent win in the Breeders' Stakes. We chat to Joe Doyle after a stakes double in the Counties Bowl and Cup at Pukekohe. What is it with Tiako and two-year-olds? They unearth another one in eye-catching fashion. And Debit adds another to its picket fence form, winning in Whanganui. A very good morning to you on your Sunday. Welcome into another edition of Weigh-In. So much to unpack from a great day's racing at Pukekohe, also at Whanganui as well, and across the ditch, and a bit of news to get stuck into as well. Aidan Rodley joins us this morning. Jayne, Ivil, morning to you. You were in with me in studio yesterday, and as I mentioned, we had some really impressive wins from some very good horses. Yeah,
it was terrific racing. I thought Auckland Thoroughbred Racing put together some wonderful fields yesterday and competitive racing, which means that we saw some fantastic results on the track. And then looking across the Tasman, the New Zealand Breeders had a fabulous day too, with Globe taking out the Cranbourne Cup and also Gringotts in the Gong. But I think if you look at the performances overall, Aidan, Crique was the one that really stood out yesterday.
Yeah, wasn't she great? Which one who got us out of our chairs anyhow, and I was a bit husky this morning because I was really cheering her on. It was fantastic. But one thing about that day, the meeting you talked about, Auckland Thoroughbred Racing, it's just a springboard day. It's very good races in their own right, but we're going to see, those horses out of the Auckland Thoroughbred Breeders like Crique heading to a Group 1, TRB Mufasa Classic. The two-year-old who was really impressive, heading towards 16 mistakes, size approaches, even maybe a Blue Diamond or a Golden Slipper with our fingers crossed. And, we look at, those Cup horses heading towards maybe Isabel Classic. So it's a decent Group 1 springboard, hopefully, the meeting. Well,
we mentioned Crique, and it was quite an incredible win. She looked gone at about the 200 and then produced a stunning effort to take out the Auckland Thoroughbred Breeders Stakes.
Out wide, Ohio Saspon, where's the favourite Crique? She's a long way off them here. And down the outside also Maritili Molly at the 150. Lux Libertas burst to the lead. Now Crique is getting away on with Maritili Molly. It's Lux Libertas in front, Ohio Saspon and Crique flying. Oh, close. Lux Libertas and Crique in photos. Lux Libertas on the inside. Crique is flying. And she's got up.
Congratulations, Katrina. What a win. Wow, I didn't think she got there, but she put in those big strides late.
Yeah, you and me both. I really did have to watch that replay photo finish to be convinced that she got that. But yeah, super run. Gutsy mare.
Group 1 targets now?
Yeah, look, she'll go still Trentham, TRB Classic there, and then we want to go on to Ellerslie after that on Boxing Day.
Happy with the run I got, tracked into it well, just got left a little bit flat. The horse in my inside was sort of rolling around a bit, but once she got into stride, she was brilliant.
Well, I mean, she was dynamic late, wasn't she? What were you thinking? Probably 200 out. Did you think, I might run 4th or 5th?
Yeah, it wasn't. It took her a while to really wind up, and it was about the 150. I thought, she's really starting to let rip. But I still wasn't sure. I was still cursing after the line, but wrapped to win on her, just wrapped her right.
So it was Crique from Lux Libertas, Maritili Molly and Ohio Saspon. Let's unpack this race. As I said, she was incredible to win. Sat 3 wide for most of it, did have cover, and then how she finished off was just superb, Aidan.
Yeah, amazing performance, and Jayne, we've sort of spoken about it leading into the show. Just the work that she'd done in running from a long way back. I actually took Michael to track work on Tuesday. Went and picked him up, took him along, and said, "I want to watch this gallop," because he'd obviously arranged to go and watch Crique, and he came off that gallop and said, "This is such a powerful mare," and she gallops superbly as she does. But isn't it good for that race, the Auckland Thoroughbred Breeders, to have a mare of that quality winning? Hopefully now goes on in Frank's form. She was a National Classic winner last preparation, $500,000 race in Brisbane.
I think the change in conditions of the race certainly helped to get a mare of her quality to the race as well. Aidan, with it now being underweight for age, it really suited her in terms of not having to carry weight. We saw her fresh up, having to carry, I think, 60.5 kilos, so just much better suited in a race like that yesterday. 1,400
metres, still undoubtedly short of her best. We're going to see the best of her when she gets to 16. And then talking about going to Isabel Classic at Ellerslie on Boxing Day as well, but just mind-blowing performance. How she could win when she was in a race where she couldn't win at the 300.
And I think if you look at the way racing unfolded throughout the afternoon at Pukekohe as well, we didn't obviously get the benefit of seeing some sectionals because obviously they can tell the story, Aidan, but you know, a lot of the winners came from handier positions in running. They sort of sat a little bit further forward than midfield, whereas she was one of the only horses on the day to settle back where she did it in running and be able to get over the top of them in the finish.
One thing about that race, so of the first 6 in running, only one horse finished in the first 6, so it suggested that that race was definitely favouring the swoopers, and that horse was a horse on the very inside, Lux Libertas. I thought one of the absolute standout performances of this race, and she really took the step up. She's, you know, just touched the rail back there in the trail too. But at this point, Jayne, you can see obviously Michael getting a long way back. Hayo Sass Bombs caught 4 wide in the early part of the race.
Yeah, I thought there's some really interesting moves out of the barrier. Marituri Molly is certainly one that was disadvantaged. I think she's much better when she can put herself in a handier position from the barrier. She got back last. And look, Hayo Sass Bomb did get in and settle in that 3 wide train. As you can see, La Crique, Michael McNabb opted just to follow Hayo Sass Bomb throughout the race. Look, coming to the turn, obviously what we saw was a leader that capitulated. Lux Libertas basically looked like she had the race won until the swoopers come down the outside, but I thought some really brave efforts from those horses that come from further back in the field. Marituri Molly super in the finish, Hayo Sass Bomb really brave, and of course La Crique. What I love about her, Aidan, is her will to win. When you watch her action, she gets her head down low, she gets her nose out, she finds the line.
She got airborne there about the just after the 200 as well. But she's even there. How does she pick up Lux Libertas, who looked to have the race in safekeeping? A very good performance by an absolute top quality mare.
Well, that's a Group 1 horse, as you say. They just know how to win and they get their neck down. And the way that she did that, as Jayne mentioned, was superb. We talked about the little hurdle that she gave, and I think we can show you that a little bit closer. We think she's maybe changing legs, but it's a funny little action.
Well, one thing, I spoke to Michael McNabb and actually asked him that last night. Said, what was she done at that point? He said, well, he thinks it was the starting point of the Counties Cup, and that's where the tractor tyres were. So that may be, you know, whether that's exactly the case or not, I don't know. But it's pretty much where it was, and so whether she has sort of, she's obviously thought she's going over the top of something, though, right?
Just speaking of Michael McNabb, before we get to the beaten connections, Aidan, you know him very well, obviously, and I think when we had him on the show, I was asking you about how determined he is for this season, but man, he has started the season with some sort of determination and passion to try and win that premiership. Yeah,
I think a couple of wins this week, including La Crique, but prior to that, obviously, I think he'd won 12, 13 wins, in his first 2 weeks back, which just shows that, he's got it. He's just a natural jockey with really high class. So good to see him come back and do. It's not easy, Jayne. You have a fall, you lose your confidence a little bit, but he's come back, really hungry.
Well, I think something I'm going to talk about a little bit later in the show, but look, I think what's been great about the way that he's got himself back into the saddle is that he's done it the right way. And I know that you've spoken on air at length of some of the things he's doing, look, outside of racing to get his body and his mind in a position where he can be riding at a top level, and it just goes to show the way he's been able to come back in 5 months out of the saddle and just hit the ground running. So testament to the work that he's done behind the scenes to get himself in not only the right frame of mind but physically in the right shape to be able to do what he's doing.
Yeah, we absolutely will talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Let's hear from some of the beaten connections, starting with Masa Hashizumi, who was the jockey on Lux Libertas.
Yeah, she ran huge. Just get run down with the Group 1 horse, but she tried super hard, and she'll get a big one soon.
Huge run. Look, she's been beaten ahead by a Group 1 winner. Set weight, she's come through the grades from a 65 all the way through to this, and I thought she was going to win. She was going to win. She just she sort of got a little bit lost going this way round first time. She just wanted to drift out that last 100. Look, not saying she would have won, but would have made it pretty interesting. But huge effort for the team to get her here and present her in terrific order. She's an exciting mare going forward.
She's jumped away better than I sort of expected. She's travelled really well with a bit of cover, peeled off Kelly's back, and she's found the line, exceptional.
Yeah, look, the pace was obviously a little bit slow for her. She travelled up a little bit hard, like she can do. And unfortunately going through the 350, to switch over cross heels, and she just broke her momentum and she rallied again, so I thought it was a very good run.
Yeah, she's run really well. 1400 obviously short of her best, but she's sitting in the right direction. I think she'll just get better the further she gets into her preparation, and once she gets to that 2,000 metres, I think she'll, line them all up. She's going really well.
It was a good run, big improvement from first up. I think up to a mile is going to suit, but I was very happy with the effort because they didn't go too quick, and she made up good ground from last, so very happy.
It was good to see actually Matt Cartwright riding in that race after the fall in the race previously. Jayne, we mentioned the beaten jockeys, or heard from the beaten jockeys, then one of them particularly Warren Kennedy. I thought Jaffe was very unlucky.
Yeah, certainly, probably just ran out a little bit of room, didn't she? And when he had to clear heels, as he said, at the 350, she really did have to build momentum again, which is really difficult at that point in the race. But I thought merit in her run. Campionessa, interesting, your thoughts on her, Aidan? I thought at face value a little bit disappointing, but I guess 1400 metres is a little bit short of her best.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think last preparation she went from, sort of maybe a plain run into a Zuzu Stakes, where she won at Te Rapa, but then come out and won a Zabel Classic. So I think she's building okay, and at 1400 metres, that's the other thing about Crique is, it's probably a little bit short of her best as well. So what do we say about that preparation from Simon and Katrina Alexander? She's come back in super order.
But I guess talking about mares and their maturity, I remember seeing Crique a couple of years ago when she came over to Australia, and she was very narrow. Yep. She didn't carry a whole lot of condition. There wasn't a lot to her, but I guess when mares are given time and allowed to mature, she's obviously got a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger every racing preparation. I thought she looked fantastic in the yard yesterday prior to the race, and who's to say that she can't go on and have a prep where we see her almost unbeaten from this point, given what we've seen from her in the past.
This is interesting, isn't it? So they've got her in the pre-noms here. I tell you, there's a couple of horses I'm missing that should be in this market, and I don't know the next page or not. That's Matt Scott and Ladies Man. Boy, where's Matt Scott in this market? Oh, there we go, 14-16. Matt Scott was massive down at Rickett, and he's building the right way. He was a horse who, in last year's race, let's not talk about that too much, but in the pre-race, before they called the false start, he looked as though he was in a position where he was going to fly, and he still ran really well in the restarted race too. And
you mentioned Ladies Man, who was very unlucky last start and looks primed for a decent campaign. Alrighty, well, there were other black type races yesterday as well, starting with the Counties Bowl, which was, of course, won by Luberon from Sacred Satono, Waitak and Crique.
Gates open, the sprinters are off, and first away from the inside Luberon, but shows blistering early speed to head her off. Going forward also Babylon Berlin, they'd be followed out by Crique. Then came Dame Lily Bick, Rocker Baby. Waitak is next from Carmen Line, and 2 lengths away Sacred Satono last. Inside the 800 metres they come. It Shoes the leader, leads by a length and a half from Babylon Berlin. Luberon back to third, and right alongside of her is Crique. Rocker Baby is working forward out deeper with Dame Lily Bick. Then a length and a half back to the stablemates. Carmen Line on the outside of Waitak. 2 lengths away Sacred Satono, being ridden for one last run at them. Homeward bound in the Honui Farm Counties Bowl, 400 metres to go. Shoes the leader from Babylon Berlin. Luberon's only a length away. 2 lengths away Crique under his big weight. Running on Carmen Line, Sacred Satono now looking for room in behind them. Out wide a Rocker Baby. It's Luberon in front. Crique, Sacred Satono's getting out from Babylon Berlin, but she went boom at the 100. Luberon by 2.5. Luberon will win it second at the line. Sacred Satono in a photo with Waitak, who flew late. Put a wonderful field of sprinters to the sword here, and Luberon just cleared out.
When she really accelerated, she really put a couple of lengths on them. So no, very, very pleasing. And a year ago we were here, and we all know what happened that day. So to come back and it's very, very satisfying.
It must be, because obviously a lot of work's gone in behind the scenes to have her as a 4-year-old mare pinging like this.
Yeah, look, I think we learned a lot last year, and the 3-year-old year can be hard on fillies. But we've made some plans, and just to keep her fresh and keep her happy, and look, it's working. She's very, very exciting.
The race played out as planned beforehand. She's won so easy. I mean, I wish I had something that could have taken me a bit further. I think she would have been even more impressive. She was only getting going when she hit the front and just cantered up to the line, really. But very grateful to Lance and everybody at Cambridge Stud for giving me the call up. Obviously Warren was otherwise engaged, so very happy to get the opportunity.
Well, there we go. Joe Doyle said it. She won very easily, and she did indeed. Luberon, Lance Noble mentioned it. Last year, obviously, was in the lead and then went out to the rail. We all remember what happened then. This year, she's gone and done it in style. I thought it was a good ride from Joe Doyle. Obviously had the good barrier of barrier 1, but got in the perfect position.
Yeah, certainly did, and she's a mare that's obviously come back a little bit better this campaign. I like the words from Lance Noble where he said we keep her fresh, we keep her happy. She's always had ability, probably hasn't always done things right, and we're seeing her do things right at the moment. She's won 6 of 11, you can't take that away from her, but one advantage she did have, Aidan, was a massive pull in the weights in comparison to some of those other sprinters. 5 kilo advantage over Sacred Satono, 6.5 over Waitak and 7 over Crique. And when you actually analyse the race and look at the way the race unfolded, Aidan, you can probably mention that a couple of those were a little bit unlucky not to finish a bit closer than what they did.
Absolutely. The writing was on the wall, though, after her previous start, because that day it was weight for age, and like we had Bonnie Lass, so we got a small share, and she blew Bonnie Lass, who was a Group 1 winner and bona fide top sprinter, off the track. And that was at weight for age level, so when she's getting into 53 kilograms in this, I thought she was very hard to beat. I thought the run here from Sacred Satono, just in cramp route in behind. If Sacred Satono had got a little bit more clear running, and like you say, Jayne, another horse who drops back to, gets into those weight for age or set weights and penalties races. I really like what Sacred Satono did late. Crique was okay, and obviously good to see Waitak doing that, especially at the track where he did win a railway.
Yeah, I thought Waitak was the other unlucky runner. Similar to Sacred Satono, got a little bit squeezed for room there. What did you make of Babylon Berlin's run?
Look, I think at face value, a tad disappointing. Again, we'll probably need to see the sectionals and how they stacked up in terms of how hard they were going in front, but she sort of had the run of the race, didn't she, sitting outside the leader, and she just didn't accelerate when Luberon came across her heel. She went past her pretty quickly, so we probably just didn't see that acceleration that we're used to seeing from her.
Dropped from 12 to 11, which might not be quite a go, and especially when we know she's best when she's just out in front getting her own terms, which she didn't get yesterday. It sounds like the connections are happy enough, but yeah, like, haven't we got a decent group of top sprinters at the moment? I think we're going to say it later on, but our New Zealand sprinters are now starting to stand on the world stage. New Zealand trained or New Zealand bred, and this is a really good group of top-level sprinters at the moment.
Yes, indeed. We will talk about one in particular a little bit later on in the show. Anyway, let's hear from the beaten connections from the Counties Bowl.
Ran well. Gate didn't help, but ran well.
Yeah, look, a bit unlucky. He's should have probably run a clear second, and he's going to be a lot better back to weight for age. He's going good though. I think blinkers have really suited, so don't forget about him.
Yeah, I thought it went pretty good. Look, obviously we would have liked to have won it, but look, he carried top weight. He didn't get out the gates as good as I wanted to. I still end up in the 1-1 following Babylon Berlin, so he had every chance from there, but I think the weight just got in that last 75.
Just a 3-year-old.
It was the beaten connections from the Counties Bowl, and we will hear from Joe Doyle very shortly on the other side of this break. You're with Wayne. Stick around, there's still so much to come on your Sunday morning. Yeah, full disclosure, that was me in a social racing cap. I do have a share in a couple of horses with social racing, but we did win the golf day. Great day it was. The Auckland Thoroughbred Breeders Association put on a great day at Clark's Beach, which was in superb fashion as well.
You call that work? That was a work day. I've come to believe.
Look, sometimes you get good work days, Jayne. It was a nice day on the course. As I say, we won. Dan, the cameraman, who did a great job, but didn't even get my closest to the pin.
Oh, what? Jeez.
8 feet away or so, 6 feet away, blustery conditions. It was a great shot. Anyway, enough of that. We're going to talk to Joe Doyle very shortly, but first of all, the Counties Cup, of course. He won in the Counties Bowl, and then he won the Counties Cup as well, aboard Nereus from Kelly Alfarasha, Cognito and the Odyssey.
Swing for home in the TAB Counties Cup. It's quality time in front from Terra Matika. Out of stock along the inside. 2 lengths away. No compromise. Out wide. Running on. Now we've got Cognito and Kelly Alfarasha. And the Odyssey's poking through on the inside. At the 200 metres. Quality time. The Odyssey coming after them. Nereus out wide at Kelly Alfarasha and Cognito. They're right across the track. Nereus first to the lead. Coming after it. Kelly Alfarasha. Nereus in front. Nereus won the cup. Second was Kelly Alfarasha. Photos for third.
Sean, congratulations. I'm sure you must be really thrilled to see the horse take this race out today on a preparation where things haven't gone to plan.
No, they haven't. We just backed off him and went back to the mile last time. Always thinking he'd probably make a stayer. It was a messy race for sure, and I'm sure there'll be a few hard luck stories, but it's always promised to win a race like this, and it's fantastic for Colin and I to have a horse win in the Waikato stud colours. They're obviously a big part of New Zealand racing, and it's great to do it for Mark and George on course here today.
Look, he was good and tough up the straight. The Tiako horse passed him and he knuckled back down and got to the line. So very grateful to Sean and Colin. Great work. They've done loads of work with this horse. He was a bit unlucky last time, so he's turned back up here today and he's won really nicely, and to Waikato stud as well. Thank you very much.
Joe Doyle there aboard Nereus, the winner of the Counties Cup, and we're going to bring him in now and join us live on weigh-in. Joe, thanks very much for giving up part of your Sunday to be with us this morning. Stakes winning double yesterday in the Bowl and the Cup. How pleased were you with how yesterday went?
Yeah, look, we're delighted. It was a day to remember, you know. It's always nice when you're going racing on a Saturday, good stakes and riding for good connections with chances, and we got the results yesterday, so it was fantastic.
Look, in terms of, I guess, your day in the saddle, obviously one to remember. If we talk specifically first about the Counties Cup and Nereus, and I think throughout the afternoon, you just made the right decisions in races in terms of where you sat in running, and of course the horses that you followed into the race. Can you talk us through the run?
Yeah, obviously from the gate, I think we were drawing 8, and I kind of thought, look, if we can land somewhere behind Wolfgang, or you know, something that's going to take us forward through the run, and then kind of when Matt got the fall and the loose horse came around, the gallop was going to be on. So I just said, look, I was in the right spot. I had Wolfgang inside me, one in front of me, and the top weight as well. I thought, you know, probably gonna bring me into the straight. And look, that's the way it worked out. There was a good gallop on, and we were following the right ones. But fair play to the horse. He really toughed it out in the finish.
Joe, how did the ride come about for you?
Yeah, like I had one. I won him last year, and I do a bit of work for Colin and Sean. And look, I suppose lightweight, like there was, you know, everything at 53 pretty much. So, you know, that's probably how it worked out. You know, I'm lucky enough. I'm light, and so when you have these big handicaps, it's, you know, it's very handy to get on the good horses.
Yeah, he's a horse I know that the stable thought really highly of. They thought he was a Caulfield Cup, or hence why they got him over to Melbourne. Obviously, you now want to count his Cup on him. How good is he, Joe?
Yeah, he's talented. He's talented. He's going the right way. He's settling very well. He can get on it if you if you give him too much of a squeeze early, but you know, as soon as I got him covered up yesterday, he just went to sleep. So he'll give himself every chance to stay.
Talking about being able to ride horses at lightweights, also a benefit in getting aboard Luberon in the Counties Bowl. Look, certainly a nice stable to be associated with, and wearing the Cambridge stud colours. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, just again delighted to get the call up. Obviously, Warren, you know, has the connection with Crique, so that kind of had him, you know, they had him penciled in for that. So very grateful to Cambridge Stud. Like it's nice to ride them quicker ones. I think I got a bit of wind burn yesterday on that one, but yeah, no. So very happy. She's mega talented. She's the nicest one I've ridden for a while.
Do you want to talk us through the run here, Joe? You said afterwards that and you just said then she gave you wind burn and she felt so good. Can you talk us through this run? Yeah,
obviously, look, drawn one. Thought there's going to be a good gallop on. Obviously, it just went as expected. I thought Shoes would probably lead, Babylon Berlin sit second, and I'd have Crique outside me. But I got such a lovely run turning in when we turned into the straight. It opened up lovely, and I actually thought the front two might carry me a bit further. And she kind of half idled then the last 100 meters, but she was really just too good. You know, didn't even have to pick up the stick on her really. So yeah, just an exceptional filly.
Yeah, crazy how the gap opened on the bend for you, Joe. Again, same question. How good is she?
Yeah, she's mega talented. If they can keep her, look, she obviously has her issues. We all saw what she did in the soliloquy last year, but she seems to be going the right way, and sure, if you don't have to take your hands off the reins and you're winning group races, it's usually pretty good.
Exactly. Joe, obviously when you get a double like that, what do you go and celebrate with a Guinness?
We had a few last night, but with a couple of friends, but no, it's fantastic. It's, you know, really happy the season has really picked up for me the last couple of weeks, the last month or 6 weeks. So delighted with it, the way everything is going, and yeah, we had a few celebratory ones last night.
Just fleshing that out a little bit further, not the drinking, but how well you're going in the saddle. Look, you're coming off the back of what was a fantastic season last season. You've picked up 4 Group 1 wins since you've been here in New Zealand, and you've sort of hit the ground running again this season. Tell me about how you're feeling about New Zealand racing, how settled you are, and some of the relationships that you've developed since you've been here.
Yeah, look, I've been so fortunate. I can't thank everybody enough. You know, the big trainers, small trainers, you know, I'm not locked in with anybody, but it's nice on the big days to pick up what's spare, and you know, everybody's been so good to me. I'm nicely settled here now, and you know, my visa's good for another couple of years, so we'll just keep tipping away.
That was about to be my question. What are your plans? Obviously, you are going to stick around at least for a couple of years. Have you thought much further than that?
Yeah, my visa's good for another 2 years, but look, there's, you know, I think I'm eligible for residency now, so we'll probably go for that. And look, I'm happy, I'm settled. I get to ride plenty of fast horses, so I don't see any reason to change anything.
Outstanding. Well, that's music to the ears of racing fans around here, I'm sure. Well done yesterday. Congratulations. Thanks for joining us this morning, and continue to go well this season, mate.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Good man. You too. That is Joe Doyle with us, of course, picking up the stakes double. Let's just take maybe a little bit more of a look at the Counties Cup here, team. We've talked about Nereus, obviously. What else did you pick out from this performance?
Look, I thought that there were a couple of nice runs in the field. Obviously, there was that issue going out of the straight the first time, which meant that a couple of horses were hindered and basically put them out of contention. But I thought Cognito, who was involved in that, it was a pretty brave effort to finish into a placing, and no compromise. He carried 60 kilos, where, as we heard from Joe, most of the field had 53 kilos on their back. And look, I thought he was incredibly brave. He toughed it out in the finish. The Odyssey down on the inside, inside. I thought he hit the line really nicely too, Aidan.
Yeah, I really like what I saw from Kelly Farasha again. She just seems to be just building up really nicely. She's a mare with a great future. I agree. By this sort of stage, there's a bit of rain before the Cup. The inside just didn't seem to be maybe playing as well, or certainly those horses down the inside maybe had done too much. Wolfgang a little bit disappointing. He'd been building to this, and he just never showed the Wolfgang that he'd been in the previous few.
He's had an enormous preparation, Wolfgang. I think you could probably maybe put that down to the fact that may have been the end of the prep run for him, given that he had that build up through Hawke's Bay. He then went to Australia. He's come back. So look, I wouldn't be too disappointed in what we saw from him. He'll probably bounce back next preparation. Just want to mention the stable like Sean Ritchie and Cole Murray. They had a gelding that they really thought highly of, enough to take him to a Mornington Cup, as you said, with sort of Caulfield Cup ambition. So they obviously thought they had a good quality stayer on their hands. Things didn't go well for him at the beginning of this racing preparation. If you look at his SP, the punters were on him for those first 3 runs this time in and expected more than what he delivered on the track. What I liked from the stable is they took a step back and they gave the horse a little bit of a freshen up, went back to the 1200 metres, and the comments from Sean about, and I think it's really interesting with horses coming up through the spring, whether they come up or they don't come up, he's talking about how the horse took a really long time for his coat to come through, really long time for his appetite to pick up. So what the stable did is they sort of took stock and they went, well, let's give him time to get to where he needs to be, and I just thought that was a really good decision. There's a bit of a balance in the spring with horses, with how far you push them and when to come back.
This is the horse that they've rated as the stable flag bearer for the last couple of seasons. They know this horse's ability. It's good to see him do that. It's just reassuring to say, hang on, it wasn't just a flash in the pan in the early stuff. He's now come out and won a Counties Cup, and who knows where this could lead, because I think he really is top class, and it's good to see that stamp in that case. Just going back to Joe Doyle, doesn't he talk so well? Isn't he a breath of fresh air? He's been great for New Zealand racing.
Yeah, terrific. I love hearing a bit more from jockeys, a bit of insight into what they're thinking during race days and all that sort of stuff. Great to have him on the show this morning. There was one other black type race yesterday, and that was the Challenge Stakes for the 2-year-olds at listed level. This was something else from Return to Conquer. And as I said yesterday on Big Saturday, I think the rivals will be pretty happy that he's not eligible for the Karaka Million or the NZB Kiwi.
Yeah, it does open some doors in Australia though. Magic Millions Classic. Boy, this was some sort of performance, Jayne.
Look, he did it very easily, didn't he? And I know it wasn't the plan to lead, but he bounced out of the gates. He was very professional, as we see from 2-year-olds out of this barn. And look, he put them away very easily. A hands and heels ride to the line for Wiremu Pin. He basically sat up on the horse. So obviously the clock wasn't fantastic, but he didn't actually have to ask the horse for too much of an effort. Wiremu's second win in the race, he partnered with Ethereal Star back in 2022. Look, high-profile colt. They paid $1.3 million for him out of the Magic Millions Gold Coast sale. Look, Mark, obviously, after the race said that there were some options for the horse. The Sistema, which the stable have an incredible record in. I think he mentioned trialling the horse mid-January. He's going to go in the paddock for 10 days now. But Te Akau have nominated 7 horses for the Blue Diamond Series in Victoria. He's one of them. The preview's on the 25th of January, the prelude on the 8th, and the Blue Diamond on the 22nd of February. So they have options. When the Sistema doesn't come up till March, there's a really good chance that we may see this horse go to Australia in between times. But it'll be really interesting to see what happens with him.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that were they wanting to think they want to get the New Zealand. The Golden Slipper is the one race that David Ellis really wants to win that he hasn't got yet. And I just wonder whether they want to do it. They want to make him a New Zealand horse. If he gets to Cranbourne too early, he becomes like Graham Rogerson with Polar Success. It's an Australian trained, New Zealand trainer for sure, but an Australian trained, Golden Slipper winner. If they keep him here, you can springboard from a Sistema. If he wins there, gets enough money, gets into a slipper, and he's a New Zealand trained horse. And if they do think they can get it right, but then if you do that, you maybe sacrifice Melbourne. So, yeah, that's the quandary.
Look, they've got some big decisions to make with the horse. He'll go to the paddock for 10 days, and I'm sure there'll be a round table discussion over what the best move is for the horse. What I do like about what the stable have done with the horses that they've pinpointed to head to Melbourne is they've picked the right horses, so they know the stock that's going to thrive once they get there, and they've done that well. So I think either way we'll see them make the right decision with this colt.
Pretty nice place to be, to have all those options and a few horses trying to figure out where they're all going to go at such big races. We just talked about Mark Walker. He said that Return to Conquer, quote, did it quite nicely. I thought that was a bit of an understatement. And we can now hear from Widemu Pin as well, who is fairly understated.
Yeah, he's an absolute machine. I've ridden some pretty good horses in my time, and yeah, he's right up there. He gives you an unbelievable feel, and to be honest, he hasn't even really tried today. But yeah, freak of a horse, and he can definitely push on with it.
All right, well, you jumped well. Another horse thought would come and have a look at you, but he was happy there. He was relaxed in front.
Yeah, well, Mark kind of had a plan to just chase them, because that's what he's been taught to do at the trials, but I just thought, I'm on the best horse in the race here. I want to take luck out of the equation and just lead, and if they're good enough they can try and catch me, but they didn't.
You were nice and kind to him in turning for home. Looked like he had his ears pricked as well before you really asked him to try and extend and get away from them.
Yeah, he's only had the couple of trials, obviously his debut today, so he's still got plenty to learn. But yeah, super horse.
Super horse, and Widemu Pin is riding superbly at the moment as well, Jane. Great to see him get an opportunity in a horse like that.
He's a jockey that I have a lot of time for in terms of what he can do in the saddle. You've only got to look at his strike rate here in New Zealand, this preparation, to see that he's under 1 in 5 in terms of his results. I guess the issue with him, Aidan, is he spent a fair bit of time on the sidelines due to suspension. So if he can keep himself out of the steward's room, I think he can have a really good season.
Yep, absolutely. He reminds me of Chad Ormsby, who was coming through. You know, a really good horseman. You can see that just the way he was so confident out of the gates on that replay. You know, he knew what he had horse-wise, and he just rode it with utmost confidence. And he's a very skilled horseman and really skilled jockey. So good to see him doing that and getting that success. But let's not take away how good that horse is. He's a star.
There was some really good racing down in Whanganui as well, maybe not quite the horse calibre that they had at Pukekohe, but some excellent racing. An open handicap over 1,340 metres, won by Debit, who continues to just add pickets to the picket fence.
Yeah, look, look, what I really like about this mare is that she's not big, but she tries hard and she's so competitive. Jumps cleanly, puts herself fit in a race, and look, she's just a really tough little mare. Great for the ownership group. I heard Peter Locke say they've been racing horses together for about 40 years and they've got a really nice mare on their hands. She's putting together a good record. Did mention yesterday that he thinks she probably prefers a little bit of cut out of the track, so she might go and have a little bit of a break now. But she's done a great job in her short career thus far.
Yeah, a short career, but look, you know, they've been really patient with her. I think she trialled up really well earlier in her career, and it's been I think there was a few issues on the way through, just with her growing, and now they're sort of, you know, bearing fruit from that patience that they've had.
Talking of Whanganui yesterday, I know that Tegan Newman was in the saddle on Debit, but Leah Hemi, what a day she had down there yesterday with 4 wins. I think remiss of us not to mention what a big day she had in the saddle as well.
There was some great racing yesterday, but we had some sad news during the week with the passing of Danny Champion, a Kiwi trainer down in Christchurch. Of course, the fiancée of Kate Hercock as well. I never met Danny, but from all accounts, a lovely, lovely man. Just
a super bloke. He was a Taranaki boy. You know, he's closely associated with John Wheeler and got to know all those Taranaki trainers. Went down to Ashburton and started training down there with Kezia Murphy, and then they moved to Rickard, and obviously he was at the happiest stage of his life, basically heading up to South Hawke's Bay with Kate. I know, just think that, you know, they had a romance that was blossoming, and I know he's sort of 50 odd, but he was just coming into the prime of his life, so to get cut down like that, it's a real shame, because Champion by name, he's a champion bloke too, a really good bloke. You'd have a decent conversation with any day of the week.
I think really devastating news, to be fair, for the entire racing industry, and I think what we see in these situations is a tribute to the type of person he is and what we've heard from people post his passing. But look, I guess on behalf of everyone, I want to express our condolences, particularly to Kate. A really difficult time for her and also his family. He had, I think, 4 girls that he leaves behind. So for his close family and friends, it's, you know, a really sad time.
Yeah, very much echo that. Our thoughts are with Danny's friends, family and Kate as well, and everyone in the industry who knew him. We'll be back on the other side of this break.
Orabella and Dreamer, they've got the Canterbury Bell between them. It's Orabella though, and Orabella won the Canterbury Bell. It remains unbeaten. Ashley Fry for Daniel Champion and Kezia Murphy. Now running on McEldy, putting in some big ones late. He's getting home really well, all over top of that McEldy. McEldy has come from well back and has absolutely monstered them late. Danny Champion, Kate Hercock, too good. Being joined by Gilded Water, and Gilded Water moved up to Alicant, and the King's Horse got there right on the line. Gilded Water nailed Alicant.
But Savoir Faire has swept up and raced away 100 to go. Savoir Faire 2 lengths in front of Duke of Condecote and also Elder and Savoir Faire. Here's Nadal. Nadal's going to smash them over the top. Nadal, bang, a big winner, won the meteorite.
Gringotts keeps going. Gringotts gong. Gringotts by a length.
Yes, there was some good racing across the ditch, particularly there at Cranbourne and Ascot. Jayne will bring you in here, talk about the railway particularly, won by Port Lockroy from Comfort Me and Super Smith.
Well, a great day for the young jockey and Clint Johnson Porter. It was his first Group 1 win, so fantastic result, and a good result for both Annabelle Neesham and Royal Archibald. They've had a fantastic run, obviously had Sunshine and Paris win the champion sprint at Flemington, and then they head over to Perth and pick up a railway. So 2 Group 1 wins pretty quickly for Rob Archibald since he's joined partnership with Annabelle Neesham. Look, first Eastern State winner of the race since 2015, so it's not a race where those horses that have travelled have had a good record in the past, so a great result for the Sydney stable. Belle Claire had to do a little bit of work from the barrier. It was probably a little bit telling in the finish, but she was beaten quite quickly in terms of being pulled up out of the race. But you can't take anything away from it. No, he basically sat up on her, given the work that she'd done early. But she's had a great preparation up to that point. I think they had to have a crack at the Group 1 with her. Be interesting to see what they do, because I think what we've seen from her in Sydney is that she's been really, really good at the 1400, hasn't she?
Yeah, sure has. A couple of Group 2s leading into that, and you know, they went there to the sales in Queensland, couldn't get the reserve, put her back into work, and surely she's going to be, not only has she earned that money, but she's going to be worth that much more now as well. So good for David Woodhouse. You know, good on him for backing his, you know, he took some courage and backed his judgment and said, let's carry on.
Things have a silver lining sometimes, don't they?
Just talking of the winner, Annabelle Neesham, Rob Archibald, they paid $300,000 for this horse out of the Magic Millions Gold Coast sale. And talking about them and sales, we saw Annabelle at the recent Ready to Run sales. They made 3 purchases out of the sales of the stable, including a full brother to Nadal, who we saw.
That was a win.
It was an incredible win in the Meteorite, which is a new race that Southside Racing's put on. But just nice that they you know, Annabelle spoke to her at the sales. She said the results of that sale was what made them come, and they've bought a really smart horse out of it as well.
Well, they were talking, and I see the race group yesterday tweeted after Nadal's win, which was explosive, said maybe they get the horse over for a Telegraph. You know, I think it's $16 in the market off the back of that as well, or something. So, yeah, that was what the tweet said.
Well, if we're you know, trying to pull that Kiwi connection, he is by Extravagant, who was a wonderful horse here in New Zealand. He was a dual Group 2 winner, obviously stands at New Haven, Group 1 winner, I should say. Dual Group 1 winner, stands at New Haven Park in Australia, and nice to see his progeny doing that on the racetrack.
I still think they're the biggest Group 1 wins in New Zealand, 8.5 lengths, both of them are 2,000 guineas in a Waikato sprint, so they were some sort of wins.
Get them over here. Get them over here, I say. The Cranbourne Cup was also another black-type race over across the ditch. This one in Melbourne, won by Globe. A good front-running performance. Wild Night, or It's a Wild Night, as it raced over in Australia, it ran up the backside of everything.
By Charm Spirit, so great for New Zealand breeders again with Globe. He was picked out of the trials from Roll the Dice Racing in conjunction, I think, with Phil Cataldo. So they picked up a nice horse out of the trials, and look, he showed a lot early in his preparation in Australia, and then he's just had a few things go wrong with him, some issues with his heart, I think a pulled muscle in his shoulder, so hasn't had a lot of racing over the last 12 months. He built back up towards this. He was third up, certainly peaking for it. The question mark was whether he was going to get round a tight turning circuit like Cranbourne, but obviously being able to roll out in front, and he's just been able to hold on from fast finishing Air Assault. I guess the story out of the race though, Aidan, is It's a Wild Night, or Wild Night as we know him in New Zealand, just didn't get any luck at any stage in the home straight.
And he's a horse who does need to wind up, and you could see that as well. But the good thing is he's going well. I think he's starting to find his feet again. He's got his confidence back too, and you didn't get out on the Clark's Beacon, the golf course, and light the cigarette and put the flame out. You see, that's what happened yesterday, wasn't it? They reckon that the golf course right next to Cranbourne, cigarette. Next thing, the fire that was there seemed to be a bit scary.
Certainly wasn't me, mate. I don't smoke. I don't vape either, so I cannot be held responsible for that. I was just burning up the course with our golf clubs. Yeah, there you go. That was the racing on the track. There's also been some reasonable news during the week. We, of course, had the ready-to-run sale. $38 million spent on 254 horses, a clearance rate of 78%, exceeded last year's result, and they also had a pretty impressive top lot, gone for $1.6 million.
$300,000, $300,000, 300, 350, 354, $400,000, 400,000, 400,000, 50, 450 online, 500,000. You come to buy quality, here's the colt. 550. 900,000, he'll say $1 million. 1 million. 1. Horse of the sale. The best 2-year-old I've ever offered, 1-4. 1-4 here. 1,000,004, but I'd love to see you put the hand in the air. 1,000,004. Sir, because you've been with them all the way, I'll give you 50. 1,000,004. 50, thank you. 1,000,450. Colt of the sale. 1,550. 1,006. 1,650. This is your ring. Remember, this is your ring. 1,650. You're the king of this ring. At 1,650,000, you're out, you're gone. Well, thanks for the hand. I sell to the king of the ring. Mr. David Ellis goes to the Tangerine Tiakau.
He is the king in that place. It's not very often if David Ellis has got his eye on a horse, you're going to be pretty hard pressed to beat him. Jayne, you were there. What was that like? And just overall about the sales, I suppose how much of an indication is it of a bounce back of the industry here in New Zealand, the racing industry as a whole?
I thought the results were terrific, particularly when you look at the growth of the sale between 2022 and 2023. It skyrocketed in terms of the increase. And I guess when you go into a sale like that ready-to-run sale, I think they were just hoping that they could hold that base level and they wouldn't drop back given that big leap that they took. The fact that they then took another step forward was really incredible for New Zealand bloodstock. It was really great theatre, as it always is when you're watching those big lots sell in the ring.
And Steve Davis, he's so good.
Well, he's the best in the business, Steve Davis, when it comes to auctioneering. Look, he was a lovely colt, there's no doubt about that. He had the breeding I'm Invincible out of Shillelagh, who was a dual Group 1 winner in Victoria, bred by Christopher Grace down in the lower North Island. A great result for that farm. They're a boutique farm, but they have incredible results. Mark and Lorraine Forbes, who prepared the horse for the sale, great for Kiltannon stable. They did a great job with him. So he had the pedigree. We obviously saw what he did during the breeze ups, Aidan. There was always some talk that he was going to be a $1 million horse, but I don't think anybody realised that he was going to get to that point.
Yeah, fantastic. Great for the sale. And obviously, like you say, I think that really underpins the Australian confidence as well. Just from hearing your interviews and a few of the interviews from NZB and the others on the ground there, the Australians just know that this is the sale that has got the track record, and they keep on coming back. On that colt itself, I think Christopher Grace is keeping 25%, and Yarraman Park, I think,
yes.
who stand I'm Invincible, have bought in as well. So, when David Ellis is going up, he must have had there's half of it at least gone, or is it 3/4? I don't know whether Yarraman Park have taken a controlling interest or not, but yeah.
Look, just a great result all round. It's the leading sale of its kind in terms of 2-year-olds across Australasia, and I think seeing the English Ready to Race sale a couple of months ago, getting that $1 million lot through the ring, I'm sure the New Zealand Bloodstock team were wanting to get themselves back on top of the list in terms of those results. But I think they got a great buying bench there. Hong Kong was incredibly strong. We saw a lot of Australian trainers. It was probably the locals that we didn't see in force. But as you said, Aidan, the results speak for itself, and it means people want to come here and buy the stock.
Another piece of news during the week was around the Waikato region, and an announcement that, or a vote rather, at their AGM that they were looking to sell up essentially and centralise the whole of the Waikato region and find a greenfields area where they can build a new track at, Aidan.
Yeah, this has been on the table. It's been talked about for 10, 15 years, a long, long time. There's been certainly a little bit of stubbornness, might we say, from the Waikato Racing Club. They didn't really want this to happen, but obviously there's been a change there of thought process. It'll be Tarapa, Waipa, the Te Awamutu racetrack, and then also Cambridge. So it's going to take a little while. So obviously we've got that poly track and things that are, we've got enough racing to keep us going, but now they've got to find the right portion of land. But the idea has got real merit. It'd be great to see everything there in one place and putting a real focus on racing in the Waikato area.
Yes, Michael Guerin will have plenty more on that tomorrow in the Guerin Report, where he interviews Butch Castles about that plan and looking ahead and where, if they've got a spot yet, that they are eyeing up. So that's the Guerin Report right here on Trackside 1 tomorrow. There was also some other news during the week around the World Pool. Here's a little explainer on what that exactly is. World Pool. It's quickly becoming a key part of the global racing lexicon. But what exactly is it? Well, it's all there in the name. Money from all over the world is pulled together on certain bet types for certain races. Let me break it down. Imagine a typical meeting at the Valley. When a punter in a pub at Hamilton has a tote win bet, it feeds into the same pool as a punter having the same bet at the track. But a punter in Queensland would bet into a different pool, while punters in Hong Kong aren't able to bet on the race at all. With World Pool, the same Hamilton punter will be betting into the same tote market as someone in Brisbane, Hong Kong, or even Newmarket. From Sha Tin to Happy Valley and beyond, to meetings like the Dubai World Cup, Royal Ascot and the Melbourne Cup Carnival, World Pool brings together bets from across the globe, creating a super pool of mammoth proportions. There are plenty of benefits. For punters, this means greater pricing stability and access to larger payouts through exotic bets, thanks to enhanced liquidity. For racing clubs, the World Pool means enhanced exposure of their feature races right around the globe. In 2025, for the first time, key races in New Zealand will be part of the World Pool simulcast schedule. Races on both TAB Karaka Millions Race Day on January the 25th and the inaugural edition of Champions Day on March the 8th will be broadcast to Hong Kong. New Zealand racing on the world stage. How good is that? So whether you're in Auckland, Hong Kong or London, with the World Pool you're not just betting locally, you're part of a worldwide racing community. Yeah, I was very much already looking forward to those 2 race days, and now there's another reason to get excited about them. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on Weigh-In. We'll leave you with a little bit of a bite during the week.
Jackaroo and Carrigan neck and neck. The outside Carrigan, the inside Jackaroo. Oh, they had a bit of a look at each other. I think Jackaroo came out and said, "What are you up to, Carrigan? I'm going to come back and beat you, old son." Jackaroo's come out for a little kiss late in the race or something. I think he might have been shown a bit of cheek there, Jackaroo, and I don't know. This is very close.
Oh, he's had almost tried to bite him late in the race. Said, "You're not going past," and had a dig. I don't think I've ever seen that before. And he's got the bobbin too, unbelievably, to win the race. What do the Stipes say about that?
But a dramatic warrior down past the 200-metre mark. He's 4 in front. A money catcher, carrying generation, and then came Nimble Nimbus. But a dramatic warrior, one of the world's best, back doing what he does best. Romantic warrior, he jogs it.
He's like the prize fighter, and he heavyweight champion of the world. He just feels like funny horse. Never get really nervous on him. He's so good, incredible horse. Love him to bits, and very good.
Cruise control as Carrying Rising. Zach shakes the reins and he just left them in his wake. Invincible Sage runs on. Helios Express is wide around, but Carrying Rising, he's putting gap on them. Helios Express, how deep is your love? Zach salutes. That's rare. He easing down. We'll see you in December. Carrying Rising special.
Well, well done, Zach. I reckon you had the stopwatch going for that one because we got half an inclination with the salute. Well done.
Yeah, I knew it was track record, so I thought I'd seal it with a kiss.
Just magic, though. I mean, that was a phenomenal performance.
It's getting scary now, isn't it? How good he's becoming and how easy he's doing it. You know, it's a nice top-off run for the big one next month.
You're back together, and if that's true, you'll just have to taste me.
Yeah, some pretty good horses have rolled around Hong Kong in the last few years, and that is another one right there. Carrying Rising smashed the long-standing track record, bred by Fraser Arrett at Grand Moral Lodge, so well done to him and the team there. That was, I suspect, probably his moment of the week. It's time for our moments of the week. Aidan, I'll start with you.
For me, I went back to Timaru on Thursday, and good to see a couple of jockeys who are, just journeyman jockeys. First of all, Diego Montedioca. He hadn't ridden, his previous winner was on the 7th of November in 2023. He's done a lot of work behind the scenes. Great to see him come back. And then in the last, Rahul Bihari, who hadn't ridden a winner since January, comes out and gets a win. So a couple of jockeys who were out of the scene for a while, getting wins back. I thought it was really just nice moments.
I'm sort of travelling on the same theme with my moment of the week. It involves a couple of jockeys. Ethan Brown rode the Meteorite Cranbourne Cup double yesterday, and we also saw Michael McNabb pick up his second stakes win this season on La Crique. Talking about jockeys that obviously have had quite serious falls in their career. Ethan Brown was involved in that horror fall in the Australian Guineas. He made a comeback, obviously stood down again, made a second comeback, and what he said at the time was, I just need to get my body right, I need to get my mental health right, and then I can get back in the saddle. He did that, and he's come back in terrific order. He picked up a couple of Group 1s during the Melbourne Spring Carnival, and obviously had a great day on the track yesterday. Michael McNabb a bit the same. They're doing the right things behind the scenes to make sure that they're doing the right job on the track.
I always marvel at jockeys at the best of times, but particularly when they come back from something like that, just incredible. Speaking of Michael McNabb, he was on board La Crique, obviously, and we've talked about her already. A remarkable win to somehow pick up from here. Get her neck down and get the job done. She was my moment of the week.
Super win, wasn't it? Really good performance here from La Crique. And the golf, you were telling us a little...
Well, I couldn't exactly I've already talked about the golf
look at
once,
this.
couldn't do it again.
It's a fair bit of booty you've got there.
Yeah, took home the spoils, gave the champagne to the wife, so she's very happy about that. Needed some golf balls because I lost 4 on the day. Thank God for Ambrose,
And you still
that's
won.
for sure. Well, Ambrose is
right,
great, isn't it? You can send balls left, right and centre. As long as someone hits it down the middle, then you're safe. All right, enough about me. Weight Watchers, horses that you thought were either a bit unlucky or ones that have shown some potential. Jane?
I just liked Queen Zoo. She was a winner third up last preparation. She'll be third up when she goes to the races next time. Narrow defeat. She come from a long way off them in the first race yesterday. Fastest or equal fastest last 600, fastest last 4 and 2 of the race. So she holds a nomination for the Thornton Mile. So they obviously think a little bit of this particular horse. I think she can go on and win next start.
Yeah, I was with Pivotal 10, who was just brilliant in winning at Timaru on Thursday. Looks to be a horse on the rise.
I was with Jaffe, who I've already spoken about, very unlucky in the Thoroughbred Breeders Stakes. That is it for us from Weigh In for another week. Thanks very much to Aidan, Jayne and the team behind the scenes, and for you for watching. Enjoy the rest of the week. Don't forget the Gearin Report tomorrow night right here on Trackside. Enjoy your week.